So Shan is many things. Model. Now I'm gonna forget everything else. I just want to say model. Okay, got it. Shannon.
The Shanster.
The Shanster. Welcome to YAH and Friends. Today we are in bed with YAH and her friend.
Thank you.
Not plural. Don't get overwhelmed and don't get ideas inappropriate. Anyway, we have got Shannon with us today. It's my first interview on the channel. How does it feel to be number one?
I'm actually so honored.
Thank you for coming on the show.
Absolutely.
It's not a show, it's a YouTube channel.
It's a
but
show.
I want to be like Oprah one day, so dream big, huh kids? We're gonna have a conversation. Just chatty cats. Ever
We're
go
chatting in
chatting?
the sheets.
Chatting
We're talking in the sheets.
in bed, couple of gals, chatting it out. Shannon is many things, alright? I don't get guests on here that are one-trick ponies. Shannon is a model, a fashionista. She has her own brand. She follows Jesus. She has bants. She's on the banter train, which if you're British, you will understand that. That's very important because some Americans don't have it and she does.
What is that?
Okay? Banter?
Oh, banter.
Banter. Be quiet, America.
Sorry.
Sorry, I have a lot of
Honestly,
American viewers, 20 of you.
Be quiet, America.
Honestly, sit down, America.
You can say
Be
that.
humble.
You can say that twice. You can say that like just for everybody in the back.
Sit down, America.
Be quiet, America.
Okay, it's good. We're gonna get into the questions. Relationships and dating. So I put on my Instagram today, guys, what questions do you have? Let's dive in and see what we have.
Two
questions.
Single people.
Two
from my
single
life.
people, not qualified at all to give relationship advice,
Mhm.
giving you relationship advice. You're welcome. The first one is, how can you tell a guy that's obsessed with you that you're not interested? Can't relate, Shannon.
Why would you put this on me?
Because I can't relate. Someone likes you, okay?
Right.
Someone really likes you.
Okay.
How do you tell them that you're not interested? Let's just put it like that.
I'm nice to you and like we'll like see if something could go somewhere.
Okay.
Which is kind of mean, but I'm just like, if I'm not interested, I'm like, listen, I'm so flattered by the fact that you are obsessed with me or like that you have.
Shumbara.
What is that?
That was just the speaker turning off, aka Jesus
She
confirming
just
what
spoke
you're
in tongues
saying.
straight to the
I did.
speaker. I normally just rip the band-aid off.
Okay, that's good.
I'm just so honest. I'm so sorry. I think you're great and awesome, but like, I just don't feel that way.
I've never said that in my life.
I just rip it off.
And I need to because I will ghost someone. That's so bad because girls don't like getting ghosted.
But
But
you'll
we
ghost.
will ghost
We will
because
ghost.
we do not want to have that uncomfortable conversation. And I was listening to this amazing podcast today about how people are people pleasers, and I am definitely realized I was one of them. Not in like an extreme way, but in little bits that's trickled in, where I deep down want to be liked and I want to be seen as nice. But the podcast was awesome. It was Jesus and JOLLOF with Yvonne from Insecure, who I absolutely love. But she was saying, we don't need to be seen as nice, we need to be seen as kind.
Yes.
And also honest. That comes back to definitely what you were saying with the honesty, but also the way that it comes across to someone. You can cater that to be kind.
Yeah.
And people will always respect if you're straight up.
Well, and it's like, I'm not saying it leaves like any door open because I probably won't be interested in the future, but it's like if I can just be honest in that one moment, then it's like, okay, well then I can be honest with you at all times. So then if something were to change, or like we were to still be friends, because sometimes I've had times where someone will be like, I like you, and then I'm like, that's great, but I don't like you like that, and then there's just like no friendship after that, and I'm like,
Yeah.
so what was the point? But
Yeah.
I'm always going to say like kudos to you because you literally did that. Like you shot your shot.
Yeah.
Basically, whoever it is, and I'm like, literally thank you for doing that. I think that's just, I just have so much more respect for that.
Yeah.
Regardless of who you are.
And I do like how you said that you almost doing like a nice little compliment sandwich, which is like, hey, I'm totally, you could use this a lot in life, I use this a lot. Hey, I'm totally flattered, like, wow, thank you so much. Honest, raw fat meat. But like, I don't see that with you, da 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 da. And then whatever on the other end of the sandwich bun.
And it's like, I want someone.
You're awesome, I hope we can still be friends. If not, I totally understand.
Like, I want someone who's obsessed with them. Like, I want you to be with someone who's just as obsessed with you. So why would I waste the time if I'm not feeling it just to feel like I should please that moment? But it's like, no, like I want you to have someone that's just obsessed with you that as you are to me. You know what I mean? Like I want that same level. So I'm gonna be like, sorry, but kudos to you.
Snaps for Shannon.
Shoot your shot.
Shoot your shot. It's an NBA reference of basketball. So, another question. When is it okay to fart in front of someone? This is real.
This is good too.
This is real.
This is real and good. I feel like there's so much, there's a stigma that like you can't, I burp in front of everybody. There are people that really don't love bodily fluids.
Yeah.
Like they can't handle it for some reason. And I'm like, do you fart? Like, do you?
You obviously do.
Do you burp? Because how do you deal with yourself then? I feel like as soon as you're like friends with them and as soon as you like feel comfortable, you can do it. I mean, of course, time and place, but I think it's just, you're gonna have to deal with it eventually.
In the words of Tame Impala.
Let it happen, let it happen. As long as you're courteous and like you're like, hey, I'm gonna fart.
Okay, this is something that Shannon and I were talking about earlier in the car, and she was excited to talk about because I would love to learn from her and hear her take. So I had a friend on Instagram message me, can we end the whole you attract who you are myth? There are abusive, terrible, and mediocre people who latch on to vulnerable, kind, and generous folks. Another myth to abolish, you don't have to love yourself first in order to be worthy of love in return. You are worthy of being loved, of being safe, and well cared for, regardless of how you feel about yourself. Let's unpack that a little. Okay, can we end the whole you attract who you are myth?
I think it is a myth. I think it's like, kind of how they were saying, that like there's people who will latch on to specific people. I think it like destroys your expectations of yourself. So you're like, if I'm not working hard enough to be kind enough, then I'm never gonna get a kind human. Like I think that's some bullshit.
Yes.
I don't know, like you're gonna attract, I feel like you could attract anybody.
Yeah.
Maybe? I don't
Yeah.
know. I'm still learning.
Yeah.
But I think like put expectations on who you want to be. I know like some people say like, well, first you have to become who you want, like what you want. And I'm like, but how am I gonna learn that if I'm not meeting someone?
Yeah.
You know, like, okay, I want someone who's kind. So you become the kindest person ever. And I'm like, I don't love that.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, but I'm not kind until I have interacted with people who are kind, or I've interacted with kindness, or I've witnessed kindness. I think it's like more a connection thing.
Yeah.
Like being around someone, especially because there are people that feed off of that or like prey on specific people. I think just be yourself.
Yeah.
Learn how to be yourself. Learn how to be around specific people, and then whoever you're supposed to bring closer to you and have connections with. I feel like that's just stronger than saying like, I'm gonna be this so that I attract only that.
I'm gonna be that.
It's boring.
To attract that.
Yeah.
And I think there's gonna be a bit more, as you're talking, of a root problem and a deeper problem if you are living like that, because that's, I'm being this to attract this, to bring this into my life. It's like, well, let's cut that sentence in half. I am being this.
Yeah.
And that's enough. Yeah. And that's okay.
Yeah.
I do love the end of this one. You don't have to love yourself first in order to be worthy of love in return. We kind of talked about that. You're worthy of being loved, of being safe, and well cared for regardless of how you feel about yourself.
Yeah.
That's tricky for me, I think, because I've always been someone that's really attracted, like, I grew up in a Christian home. My dad was a pastor, Christian family, like, not very Christian, but quite Christian, 3 older rebellious sisters. I grew up thinking I had to be the good one, but I became so good that I wanted the opposite. So that's what I looked for in a relationship. I didn't look for unhealthiness. I was always like, I want to be with someone a bit edgy, and I just wouldn't know the boundaries for myself.
I think because I come from a Christian background too, conservative more than just Christian.
Yeah.
I guess they go hand in hand. But we're laughing, but it's true. It's awkward. But I think that's kind of like when you're told or baked in something, or like brought up in something that you're just like, this is good, this is good, this is good, this is good, and then you're like, wait a minute, there's more sides to this story.
Yeah.
And so then you're gonna crave something that you didn't really realize. You were like, I never got this because I didn't know. I have to explore. I have to learn. Like, it's just, I feel like that's very human nature to just always like want to explore all the options.
Yeah.
But like in kind of the Christianity I was raised in, which sounds like you were raised in, is just like, this is the one thing. This is the way to go. This is it. And it's like, well,
we never had the opportunity to explore that, so naturally when we grow up we want to see what else is out there.
I don't think that people will 100% love themselves.
Yeah.
Because we're humans. Like, I think we can be very like mean to ourselves. I mean, I'm hoping that it changes to where we can actually raise little humans and be like, you are important, you have purpose, you have like all these great gifts. But I feel like we'll always have that doubt. We'll always have that like, ooh, I don't 100% love this about myself. We're always shifting and changing, and I think that I wouldn't have to 100% love myself to be loved.
And that's almost better to have that honesty than to be walking around fake as hell.
Yeah.
Like, you can tell that in a person.
Like, I don't have to be friends with everybody. Yeah. So I don't have to be friends with every part of myself. But it's like there are... But I have to understand that like, and then there are things internal that I'm like, oh, I don't love this about myself because I want to be better at it.
Yeah.
And so it's like, how am I supposed to just 100% learn that? Because it's always something I'm going to be learning.
Dude, it's that beautiful tension.
Yeah.
And that's life. So,
can't wait.
Wrapping up.
Last question. Are you doing a rapid fire?
No, wrapping up. I want you to do one tip, something that you've learned. So I know we've said disclaimer, we're growing. What's something you've learned about like power tip, relationships? It doesn't even need to be dating, like romantic. It can be just
all relationships,
homies.
I would say I feel like I want to do 2 things because I'm always asking for 2.
Great.
I'd say my first thing is like just celebrate people. Like I think one of the biggest things I've learned from the friends closest to me is that they're always like affirming me and telling me how much they appreciate me and like complimenting me and just like making sure that I know I'm like seen and valued and heard. And
love that.
And then on the flip side of that, they're also like take responsibility and like fess up basically to like anything that isn't working. And like I think that's big too because they'll call me out. Because I think relationships are such a plus. People like to say they're like a plus, they're an addition to you, but I feel like it's also like they're needed. They're a requirement almost.
Yeah.
Like not even that makes you a whole person because we're all whole, but I think it's like if we're just focused on like it's just me in the world and I'm out to get that, it's like it doesn't make the world pretty. I mean, well, not even pretty. It just doesn't make the world like beautiful and like delicious. I want to say delicious. If you like have raw vegetables or like raw meat and you're cooking it and it's like that's just you, and then like your friends are like spices,
seasoning.
Like,
Ranch? Just kidding.
I mean, if that's what kind of friends or
Sorry.
relationship you need,
That's what I
then
mean.
you get some ranch up. Okay, wait, but maybe not even that, like, your friends are the spices, but they just have, like, you both have it. You both have the plates, and you're both making things.
Ooh.
And you're giving each other recommendations.
Ah.
Like, have you tried this? Have you done this?
Have you barbecued it? Have you grilled it?
See, I literally just came from one place to another in that 2 seconds.
Now I'm hungry. Shannon, thank you for coming on my channel,
Thank you
being
for
the
having me.
first interview.
It's my honor.
Congratulations.
We're invited. Was that good?
It's so fucking weird. Oh, congratulations, sir.
Good day, good day.
Hello, governor. Thank you for coming to our show. Cut.